Welcome to day 3 of the early reveals for Leagues 4. And my prediction yesterday was definitely not even close. I was guessing today was going to be last recall, but it turns out it is the release of all 3 combat relics. So to jump straight into it, the first combat relic we have is Superior Sorcerer, and it makes magic weapons with attack speed 4 or above have this stat halved and rounded down. So that makes magic weapons with 4 or 5 tick attack speeds rounded down to just 2. And then magic weapons with attack speed 3 or below have this stat halved but rounded up. So unless I'm missing a specific weapon, it sounds like basically all magic weapons have their attack speed set at 2. But next up, you save 90% of your runes when casting spells. This includes charges when using powered staffs such as the Tridents, the Sang Staff, the Shadow, and then the Enchanted Slayer Staff. Bind spells will always hit an unfrozen target, and then you also acquire a book that allows you to change between any spellbooks you have unlocked. You get a free rune pouch. All rune pouches store 2 more types of runes. Magic attacks will deal an additional 25% as splash damage to surrounding targets up to 5 additional targets. This splash damage effects only works in multi-combat areas though. But then to round it off, your magic accuracy is increased by 175%. And then your magic damage is increased by 20%. They definitely weren't joking when they said there were going to be some broken mechanics in this league. Now if we jump over to the melee, the attack speeds for the melee weapons have the exact same changes. Attack speed of 4 or above is halved and rounded down, and attack speed with 3 or below is halved but rounded up. But on top of that, you will be immune to all status effects, including poison, venom, fire breath, but this is with the exception of stuns, and it does apply in both PvP and PvM. There's a 10% chance to deal a critical strike on a successful hit, which deals double damage. And then melee accuracy is increased by 50%, and melee ranged and magic defense is also increased by 50%. So there's no guaranteed bonus melee damage, but you do get a decent buff to your defense, a good buff to your accuracy, and then also a 10% chance to just double a hit. And if you do happen to hit like a 45, you could be dealing some absolute ridiculous damage. But now finally, to round things off, we have the Archer's Embrace, which is obviously the Ranger relic. The attack speed changes stand the exact same, but then 90% of your ammunition is saved when using ranged weapons. This effect also stacks with the Ava's devices, resulting in a 98% ammo saving bonus. Crystal bows, chinchampas, and blowpipe charges are included in this effect. Maybe I could be completely off, but I don't feel like chinchampas are usually ever included in the saving aspect of these relics. Next up, enchanted bolts have a 2 times boosted chance to proc, 10% chance that your weapon will fire an extra projectile, and this includes bows, crossbows, ballistas, and most thrown weapons. And then finally, your ranged accuracy is increased by 100%. Definitely some interesting additions on these starter combat relics that I was not expecting to come around. I will say I think they made it a massive effort to make magic a much more highly picked relic this time around. Going into this, I was not expecting magic to be even in the conversation on one of the relics I wanted to pick, but now after reading this, my mind is not entirely made up. I mean, in my personal opinion, I feel like the mage relic is probably the strongest out of all 3, but I feel like that was also done intentionally. Magic has always in the past kind of been neglected, and I feel like this was an intentional effort to change that. So honestly, I'm not even sure which combat relic I'm even going to be picking this time around now. Obviously, I do think your regions do play a big factor depending on what kind of PvM access you do have in the regions you're picking. A combat style definitely plays a bigger part in that. If you're going to be doing a majority of your content around range, then you're definitely going to want the range relic, even if one of the other 2 you think is stronger. Overall, quite the surprise to see this with the Day 3 release. I can't wait to try out one of these 2-tick overpowered weapons, either being like a twisted bow or the shadow. These things are going to do some absolutely ridiculous damage. Also include the scythe in that area. Let me know down in the comments below what starter relic you guys are leaning towards now. Let me know also if today's release changed your mind on which one you were going to be picking. But with that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you tomorrow with Day 4 of the early reveals.